Welcome back. Working with the issues of gender and gender-based violence may be controversial in some realities due to the social or political context. It may be also related with the fact that young people, due to the lack of knowledge or sometimes sensitivity, are not ready to discuss it. The issue of gender is highly charged with stereotypes and prejudices, which need to be addressed in the gender-related work if we want to make young people aware about the consequences of gender-based violence. We are actually surrounded by controversy. It is a part of our lives, at home, at school, in the streets, in the media, or on the internet. Controversy arouses strong feelings and divide opinion in communities and society. So, why is the issue of gender and gender-based violence so controversial? First of all, gender is a political issue. Gender and discussions about gender are often very hot and political and may bring into question different types of ideological, religious, and other firmly held beliefs. There are many stereotypes about gender, and we have already mentioned many of them in the course, such as gender ideology, the idea used by many governments that gender is about promoting homosexuality or abortion, or that it is about feminists wanting to take over the world. These are, of course, myths, very dangerous myths, that put some people at risk of violence, exclusion, or discrimination. Secondly, working with the issue of gender and gender-based violence means addressing and challenging existing social norms and roles. This is not easy for some people. Issues of gender may be a taboo in some societies. Therefore, it is challenging to talk about them, as it may create discomfort. The next reason may be sexism, something people experience every day, and something that we may be used to and not even notice it. Sexism is about perceiving and judging people only on the basis of belonging to a particular sex or gender category. Everyday sexism takes different forms, sometimes not very easily recognizable, like telling jokes about girls, commenting on female body, which is objectifying women, reacting to the way women are dressed. What does she wear? She begs for being raped. Or assigning women easier tasks in the internet games, or objectifying women in advertising. All forms of sexism justify the dominance of men, treating women as weaker sex. In some societies, domestic violence is not treated as violence. It comes from the idea that we already mentioned of what happens at home stays at home. Some countries, like Russia, even implemented legislation that decriminalizes domestic violence. It is a very dangerous move, as it deprives people who experience domestic violence of system of protection and support. It also leads to violence being underreported or unreported at all. One of the issues that creates much controversy is LGBTI rights, especially rights to civil unions, marriages, or adoption of children by LGBTI couples. Violence against LGBTI people is often neglected when gender-based violence is discussed. It is not unusual for people who are perpetrators of violence against LGBTI people to justify their actions through expressing disgust at gay sexuality or gay masculinities. This neglect of gender-based violence against LGBTI people partly reflects the lack of information we have and the lack of legal and other forms of protection for LGBTI people in many countries in Europe, but also outside Europe. Homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia are terms that describe the fear, dislike, or hatred of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. Such hatred is usually deeply rooted in stereotypes and prejudices, and is supported by a hostile social and political climate towards LGBTI people. For some young people, discussing gender or sexuality may be difficult, as they are not used to do it. Discussing these issues at home is not the reality for many young people. They usually get the knowledge about gender or sexuality from their peers or from the internet. The sources that very often present very doubtful content and rather reinforce existing stereotypes and prejudices. Therefore, dealing with controversy and controversial issues is an important part of all education that deals with gender issues and gender-based violence. This education should aim at challenging existing norms, stereotypes, and prejudices. It should aim at developing competences so that young people could be able to constructively discuss issues of gender or sexuality, accept differences, and recognize gender-based violence in order to act against it.